about Chinese costumes. Every morning when you get up and open your closet and look at the whole closet of clothes, do you have a problem? What should I wear today? And did you wonder, what did ancient Chinese people wear? Today, we'll figure out this problem. Now look at the main objectives of this course. First, learn different major Chinese historical periods. Second one, know the features of clothes during the historical periods. And the third one, learn some words relating to clothes. First of all, let's go back to the budding period. A fossil ape was unearthed in Yuanmou, Yunnan province. Okay, at that time, the ancient people, they just used the tree leaves to make something to keep their body warm. And by, Beijing man was discovered. They knew how to walk upright and make tools. And then the cavemen, they knew how to make fire and they look like the people today. The first bone needle was excavated on the suburb of Beijing. It was made by cavemen, which has shocked the whole world. The length of this bone needle was 80 millimeters. During the primitive period, the ancient people just used the bone needle to make clothes. The clothes were made of animal skin. And besides that, they also used the animal teeth and the stone to decorate themselves, to make necklaces. Okay, next we'll go to the Xia dynasty. Xia dynasty was the beginning of slave society in China. And during this period of time, okay, the Chinese clothes began to take shape. There were some common features at that time, including, look at this one, cloth collar. It was just like the English alphabet, Y. And the clothes were consisted of the upper part and the lower part. The upper part was some kind of shirt. The lower part was some kind of dress. They were worn with tied with sash. And different colors played different roles. So for example, during West Zhou dynasty, red was considered the most dignified color. Okay, so because of the fact that the ancient people during that time began to feed silkworm, so they could get different kinds of materials to make clothes, such as silk or linen. But one thing we'd like to mention is that the silk clothes were just for wealthy women, and poor people, they just wore clothes made of linen. One feature during Xia Zhangzhou dynasties was that the function of clothes began to change, and the clothes began to indicate the different social status of the wearers. So look at this picture. It was some kind of special clothes for the emperors to wear to worship heaven. In West Zhou dynasty, on these clothes, there were 5 different colors and 12 different patterns, including the moon, the sun, and the stars. So because at that time people believed that these 3 things give birth to all things on earth. And next, let's look at this picture. It was called spinning wheel. Because of this tool, people could get different kinds of materials to make clothes. Next, we'll go to Han Dynasty. Han Dynasty was one representative of Chinese feudal society. Okay, so it was composed of West Han and East Han dynasties. to meet the large demand of clothes, Emperor Wu of Western Han Dynasty set up special official department to charge the production of clothes. The official-run business usually produced clothes for the emperor and the officials, and the private business produced clothes for common people. Okay, so another thing that is technological development during this period. So especially the dyeing technology. Because of that, people could get different colors for making clothes. One distinctive historical event during the Han Dynasty, that was the emergence of the Silk Road. Under the order of the Emperor Wu of Western Han Dynasty, the envoy Zhang Jian and his team started from Chang'an, so that means Xi'an nowadays. So they went through Asia, East Asia, to reach Europe and Egypt. During the journey, they exchanged something with foreign countries, such as they used silk, porcelain, and elegant silver to exchange for like cotton, wool products, diamonds, and so on from foreign countries. They also brought some vegetables to China, such as carrot. So for clothes, at that time, the main features including they usually wore white clothes as lining and cloth collar style, and also the big robe and the sleeves. There were two main kinds of clothes during that time. The first one is called 曲居 dress. So that means people could wear these kinds of jewels around their body in 2 or 3 circles. Another one is called 直居 dress. This kind of dress people could wear directly and then fastened by broad belt. And there were no circles. Okay, so next we will travel to Tang Dynasty. Tang Dynasty was one prosperous dynasty in Chinese history, especially under the rule of the second emperor, Li Shiming. He had adopted a series of liberal policies. And under his rule, China's feudal society reached a peak in this period. The spinning, dyeing, and embroidery skills developed to a large extent. And look at this picture. This cloth was excavated in the Famen Temple of Xi'an. And this cloth was especially, look at this one, with elegant embroidery. Okay, the second emperor we'd like to mention during Tang Dynasty is Wu Zetian. She was the first and only female emperor in China. Under her influence, Chinese female social status had greatly improved. Women could handle legal disputes, get involved in politics, and participate in warfare. Because of the shrinking of continental Silk Road, maritime Silk Road began to flourish during Tang Dynasty. Chinese vessels departed from Guangzhou, a port city during that time, to reach Europe and Egypt. During the journey, Chinese vessels even could pass more than 90 countries. Because of the maritime Silk Road, so many foreigners came to the capital city, Chang'an. And besides that, they were one trend. There is some nomadic people from northern China also came to the capital, Xi'an. So, at that time called Chang'an, just now we said that. They were tatas or mangoes, and they were usually called Hun people. In this prosperous period, the clothing materials were exquisite. The style was bold, graceful, and elegant. There were three main kinds of women's dresses. The first picture was called chest Lu Qun dress. The Chinese character Lu refers to the upper part, some kind of long shirt. And second Chinese character Qun, that means the long dress on the lower part. And then the second picture shows the second kinds of female clothing. That is called cross-dressing. So that means females wore clothes, can usually worn by males. And the third picture is called alien dress. It was under the influence of Hun people. The characteristics include the narrow sleeves, the collar outside. For males, they usually wore long robe with long collar. One thing we'd like to mention is that the colors of the long robe indicated different kinds of social status, such as the color for the officials above third level was purple, and the red was considered less dignified, and the least dignified was green. Last, we'll travel to Qing Dynasty. The Qing Dynasty was the last imperial dynasty of China. The dynasty was founded by Manchus. They were good at hunting and riding horses. The clothes for females of Han nationality in early Qing Dynasty, they wore sack and long dress. And in later Qing Dynasty, they began to wear shoulders instead of the dress. And the upper shirt was decorated with flower range. And clothes for Manchu women, they wore long robe to keep warm. The reason was that originally they lived in Liaoning province, which was very cold in winter, and there were openings on both sides. The purpose was to work conveniently, and the collar was long with shoulders inside the robe. Besides the long robe, they often wore something like the Mandarin jacket outside the robe. And to make it beautiful, they wore scarf around their neck. And their shoes were also special. It was called flower pot shoes. For formal situations, the empress and the imperial concubine often wore dark clothes with elegant embroidery. For men, they usually wore long robe with narrow and short sleeve. The purpose of this kind of clothes was to ride a horse and hunt conveniently. And another clothes we'd like to mention that is called Mandarin jacket. It was worn outside the robe, and the features including short coat reached the waist. The sleeves covered the elbow to ride horses easily. So it was usually called ma gua in Chinese. There were some special kinds of Mandarin jacket. Look at the color. The color was light yellow. It was special because light yellow was only worn by the emperor. So this kind of Mandarin jacket was given by the emperor to those who contributed a lot to the government or to those who fought bravely during the war. Okay, next we'll introduce the traditional representative of Chinese female clothes. That was called changsan or qipao. It is some kind of body-hugging Chinese dress. In 1929, it was designated to be national symbol by the government of the National Republic of China. The origin of Cheongshan can be dated back to Qing Dynasty's long robe. That was some kind of colorless, tube-shaped gown. And then we'll look at the development of Cheongshan. Okay, the long robe, the style was from loose to body tight. And the sleeves became shorter and shorter. The structure of Cheongshan included mandarin, collar, and frog. Front of a garment and with openings on both sides. And besides that, on the clothes, they are usually embroidered with elegant patterns. And the last, we'll look at the official uniform. Different colors, patterns, and hats are changed according to the different levels of official position. So for example, during Ming Dynasty, the civil servant officials' clothes had birds on their clothes. And for example, look at this picture. The first rank civil officers' embroidered pattern was a crane. And the ninth rank of civil officers' uniform was a quail. And the martial officer's uniform was embroidered with beasts. And this picture was the second level of martial officer, and on his clothes, it was embroidered a lion. Okay, now let's draw a conclusion here. The development of Chinese clothes starts from dress or lower parts to trousers. The function of clothes changes from keeping warm to showing social status. Okay, so that's all for today, and see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.